Hey, welcome to the podcast. This is The Surge Effect, and I'm your host, Mike Surge. This podcast will be talking about anything and everything, life in general to current events and past events, and all things about this beautiful and wonderful world that we live in. And this podcast, well, it'll probably have an effect on you. Well, hello and welcome to another episode of The Surge Effect. Today's Surge Effect, we're going to be talking about what Jagmeet Singh dropped on everybody in Canada and around the word about ripping up his agreement with Trudeau and the Liberal Party. And I got a few videos about, of course, the up-and-coming debate between Trump and Kamala Harris down in the States. So we got a little bit of both on today's podcast. Before we get started, I always like to mention two of our sponsors. One is Love My Legs, Owen Sound, Grey Bruce. Head on over to their Facebook page by clicking the link below and look at all the different leggings that they have to offer. Our number two is He Shirts, She Shirts Plus. Head on over to He Shirts, She Shirts Plus. Click on the link below. Check out all the clothing they have to offer because they are more than just another t-shirt company. I also like to throw in two other things, my BCAAs, my branched chain amino acids. I always put these out there because they're good for hydration, and branched chain amino acids are amazing for the body, so check them out. Number two is my RODECaster Pro 2. That's what I use for my soundboard. That's what I use for my sound system when I do my podcast. A little pricey, but you know what? Worth every penny if you're into this kind of thing. All right, let's get started with today's podcast. So the first video I'm about to show you is Jagmeet Singh dropping the bomb.
Hey, I notified the Prime Minister that I've ripped up the supply and confidence agreement. Canadians are fighting a battle for the future of the middle class.
A battle for the middle class, says Jagmeet. Don't forget, Jagmeet's been doing this for the last several years and sticking with the Liberals on all kinds of crazy shit, like Bill C-11 that I talked about for a while. Bill C-11 that took away people's rights to hear, say, and see stuff on the internet. That's right. He voted for that. Remember that. This is what Trudeau had to say about Jagmeet dropping the bomb on him and ripping up their agreement.
I am not focused on politics. I'll let other parties focus on politics. I'm focused on actually delivering the things that Canadians told me this summer they need. An election will come in the coming year, hopefully not till next fall, because in the meantime, we're going to deliver for Canadians. And the contrast with a conservative leader that wants to cut dental care, cut the school food program, cut insulin for through pharmacare, cut the programs that Canadians are relying on to help them through this difficult time. Well, that'll be a political decision that Canadians get to take in an election. But in the meantime, I'm not letting down Canadians, and I'm going to stay focused on them. So I look forward to conversations with Mr. Singh about how we're going to continue to demonstrate that confident countries invest in their citizens, invest in their future, because that's what we're doing. Well, I think the NDP is going to have to make decisions about whether or not they want to stand with Pierre Poilievre, who's going to cut the school food programs, cut dental care, not deliver on pharmacare, or whether they're going to focus on what it means to Canadians to be there to give them support through this difficult time and to be investing in the future, whether it's drawing in global investments or fighting climate change at the same time. Every politician gets to choose whether they want to play politics or whether they want to serve Canadians. And I certainly hope that the NDP will stay true to its fundamental values, which is making sure that Canadians get the support they need and keeping away the austerity, the cuts, and the damage that'll be done by Conservatives if they get the chance.
Of course, he likes to fearmonger, talks about Pierre Poilievre and all that because that's what they do. Fearmongers and gets people all riled up and gets you going against, each other. So Pierre Poilievre, this is what Pierre Poilievre dropped the other day in his Twitter feed. He said 2 years ago, sellout Singh sold out workers and signed on to a costly coalition with Justin Trudeau that hiked taxes, ballooned food costs, doubled housing costs, and unleashed crime and chaos in our once safe streets. In today's media stunt, sellout Singh refuses to state whether the NDP will vote with non-confidence to cause a carbon tax election at the first chance. So that is what Pierre tweeted, and this is what Pierre had to say.
Thank you very much, everyone. And before I start, I just want to point out how great it is to be back in British Columbia, where my family used to take us for little vacations, camping trips. My folks were school teachers. They adopted me, and even though we came from modest means and went through a lot of hard times, it was always possible to have a modest vacation in our neighboring province of British Columbia. And my folks would tell me that, in Canada, it didn't really matter where you came from. It mattered where you were going. That anyone from anywhere could do anything. That's the country my wife came to as a refugee, starting as 6 people in a 2-bedroom apartment, but now all of them have succeeded. That was the Canadian promise. Unfortunately, after 9 years of Trudeau and the NDP Liberals, that promise is broken. Everything costs more. Work doesn't pay. Housing costs have doubled. We now have the worst housing costs in all of the G7. Housing is 25 to 45% more expensive in Canada than it is in the United States of America, where they have to house 8 times the people on a smaller landmass. Crime, chaos, drugs, and disorder are now taking over our once safe and serene streets. And what would the NDP do about it? Well, for the last 2 years, sellout Singh has signed on to a coalition, a costly coalition, to keep Trudeau in power, raising taxes, doubling housing costs, and unleashing crimes and drugs in our streets. Sellout Singh betrayed the workers who thought he would stand up for them. Instead, he has stood up for Trudeau, allowing Trudeau to double our debt and cause the worst inflation in 40 years. A third of Canadians now say they consider leaving Canada. 2 million line up at food banks. 2/3 of kids, young people, and families who don't own homes believe they never will in Canada. We never imagined that it would be so bad that hospitals would have coolers full of dead bodies because family members can't afford burials or cremations. But that's what Justin Trudeau and Jagmeet Singh, sellout Singh, have delivered. And then on food prices, well, food prices, I think we've got a CBC, oh my goodness, CBC's microphone has fallen down. Well, who would have thought that I'd be holding on to the CBC logo here today? I'll give that to you. I don't know if that... everything is broken in Canada after 9 years of the NDP Liberals, including the CBC microphone. And now, sellout Singh has pulled a stunt. The sellout Singh stunt today, where he came out and claimed that he was wrong, that the coalition was a bad, costly idea, but he refuses to commit to voting for a carbon tax election. So my message to sellout Singh is this. If you're serious about ending your costly carbon tax coalition with Trudeau, then commit today to voting for a carbon tax election at the earliest confidence vote in the House of Commons. That way we can have a carbon tax election where Canadians will decide between the costly coalition of Trudeau and sellout Singh that tax your food, punish your work, take your money, double your housing costs, and unleash crime and drugs on your street, or common sense conservatives who will axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime. In so doing that, we'll bring home the country we love, where hard work earns a powerful paycheck that buys affordable food, gas, and homes in safe neighborhoods, where our military is strong and our people are safe, where immigration is welcome but controlled, where drug addictions are treated, not worsened, where children can play safely in the streets, where the flag flies high, where we are the freest country on earth, and where the common sense of the common people are united for our common home, Canada. Let's bring it home.
Thanks, everyone. We're going to open it up for questions. Starting over here with
All right, so they're going to start asking. This was a little press interview that he had the other day in regards to Jagmeet dropping the bomb. So, in case anyone doesn't know what non-confidence is, and it's going to pop it up on the screen, vote of non-confidence. It's a phrase of a vote showing that a majority does not support the policy of a leader or governing body. He was removed from office following an overwhelmed vote of non-confidence. So that being said, on the 16th, when they go back into office, they can vote non-confidence and get the ball rolling and get an election going here in Canada. That being said, here's Jagmeet Singh. Guy asked him a question about the non-confidence, and this is what he had to say.
Wherever they live.
So, could I ask you to answer in English, please, the question that you answered in French? Basically, if Pierre Poilievre moves a non-confidence motion, will you support it?
In terms of any motion moving forward, we're going to look at that motion before we decide. We're not going to presuppose an outcome of that. But we have I've ripped up the agreement with Justin Trudeau. And I know that means that an election has now become more likely. We are ready to fight an election whenever that happens. And when that election comes, the choice is going to be between Pierre Poilievre and conservative cuts who want to literally destroy our healthcare system. Want to make it so that the only way you can get care is if you can afford to pay for it out of pocket. Or New Democrats who want to fix our healthcare system, build it up so it is there for you and your loved ones when you need it. That is a choice in the next.
That is a choice in the next election, he was about to say. But he didn't quite answer the question, did he? No, he did not. Because that's what politicians are really, really good at, especially Jagmeet. He's really good at not answering questions. So here's another question that he does not answer. Pay attention.
Brian Lilly with the Toronto Sun. You've made it very clear that you don't have faith in the Liberal government to deliver for Canadians. So a simple question, hopefully a simple answer. Do you have confidence in the Trudeau government?
Well, we've ripped up the agreement with Justin Trudeau. That speaks for itself. I've ripped up the agreement, and I know that that means an election is now more likely. We will look at every vote as it comes and make a decision as it comes. I'm not going to presuppose the outcome of a vote before it happens. We will look at each vote and make our decision as it comes. But let us be very clear. I am absolutely aware that ripping up the agreement with Justin Trudeau means an election is more likely, and that sets up the question for what is this election going to be about. I am very strongly in belief that this election is about two competing visions for our country. The vision of Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives is a vision to cut the things that you want. They're bragging about wanting to cut healthcare and destroy universal public healthcare as we know it. So the choice is, do you want Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives to make our healthcare system one where you've got to pay out of pocket to see a doctor and only those who've got money can get healthcare that they need? Or you Democrats who believe very fundamentally that it should not matter how much you have in your wallet to determine the quality of care and how fast you get it. That is a choice in this upcoming election. What vision of Canada Canadians want?
You've said about a dozen times at least that you've ripped up the agreement and that makes an election more likely. But you've been asked several times and you won't answer. Do you have confidence in the Trudeau government as they stand now?
I will be clear again. We have absolutely ripped up the agreement with Justin Trudeau, and that means an election is more likely.
Clear. That's not clear. You're
and an election, whenever that election comes, we'll be ready to fight it. And the vision around that election is going to be an important one. Canadians will have to make a choice.
But can we get an answer?
Corporate-controlled Conservatives, they're going to let their corporate buddies rip you off even more, or New Democrats are going to save you money on your rent and your groceries. That's a choice that Canadians will have to make.
Can we get an answer?
I will look at any vote that comes before us, and we will make a decision in the best interest of Canadians as any minority government.
That'd be
normally
no.
operates.
That'd be no. He's not going to answer because he doesn't want to answer. It's not that he can't. He said he does not want to. Anyone that's done this, like, ripping up the agreement, well, is he standing with the Liberals still or not? If not, come September 16th, when they go back in our House of Commons in Canada, fire it off on the floor, vote it on confidence, and get it going. The reason why Jagmeet Singh's doing this, people are believing it's because of this. Right here, British Columbia elections are coming up. Most recent BC election was held on October 24th, 2020, resulting in NDP majority government held by John Horgan and ushering in 42nd Parliament of British Columbia December 7th, 2020. John Horgan resigned from office in late 2022 and was replaced by David Eby on November 18th, 2022, making Eby's British Columbia's 37th premier. The next provincial election will take place on Saturday, October 19th, 2024, which is coming up. TikTok. So, of course, with political stuff being the way it is, do you think Jagmeet has done this for political reasons? Because of the upcoming by-election in BC. So I'm going to close out the Jagmeet and Justin Trudeau and Pierre Poilievre's little part of this video with these last two things. This first video is a group of workers being met by Pierre Poilievre.
Thanks to all of you, the great workers who make things move. There are countless small businesses who make stuff and ship stuff and don't realize you're the ones that get it where it's going, so they get paid for it. And there are countless consumers all across this region of the country, the basics of life in their homes, on their kitchen table, because you bring it in. The work you do is essential. You are the lifeblood of the economy, and ports like this are the veins through which that lifeblood flows. And we need you to have powerful paychecks continuing to deliver for our people across Canada.
Wow, smiling, clapping, seemed to go fairly well. Unlike this one here that I played actually literally yesterday, because it's a great little clip and it's been gone viral all over media, is Trudeau talking to a steelworker in Algoma.
Hey, I'm good. Just one
Well, we got donuts over here if you want to thank you for your hard work.
I can bring some for my kids here.
Okay. The 25% tariffs we just brought in on Chinese steel is going to help you out.
That's going to keep my job, yeah.
That's going to
Yeah.
be your job.
What about the 40% taxes I'm paying, and I don't have a doctor?
The $400 million that we invested in the card means you're going to have a job for
I think you're only here for another year. We won't see you around probably another year.
No, that's what elections are for.
That's right.
And I look forward to everyone exercising the right to vote.
Yep.
Basic choice. We're going to invest in you and your job.
I don't believe you for a second.
Dental care? Do you know anyone who got dental care?
Yeah, I pay for it myself.
Okay.
We're like 3 years
You
behind.
have a job and coverage.
Yeah,
but we
four
got
people
seniors.
in my family.
We've got
Every
seniors.
time we go for a dental visit, it's costing me about $50 in my pocket per person.
Okay.
Why? I have a good job. You're not really doing anything for us, Justin.
Well, actually, we just invested so 500,000 people who hadn't been to the dentist got to go to the dentist over the past few months.
Probably like my neighbor that doesn't go to work because she's lazy.
You know
Just
what?
doesn't go to work. She lives the same
Most
life I do.
Canadians try to stick up for each other, and that's what we're going to keep doing.
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
luck and take care of your family,
Oh,
sir.
no, I'm good. Thank you.
All right.
Have a nice day.
Have a good day, sir. All right, the other guys they got the donuts. Excellent.
Those guys got the donuts. Excellent. Like, it's unreal. Anyway, that's the end of the north, and now we're going to move down a little bit to the south. Everyone knows that next Tuesday, or maybe you don't, next Tuesday night is going to be Trump and Kamala Harris. They're going to be debating. So here's just a little snippet before I start running some of these other videos.
Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are set to go head-to-head in what's sure to be a savage debate on September 10th, broadcast on the ABC. But as is commonplace with Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, the debate lead-up has been...
All right, so that's just a little snippet I wanted to show you, of course, like I just said, of people that may or may not know that they are debating next Tuesday, which I believe is September the 10th. So here's Kamala Harris here in a CNN interview talking a little bit about what her values are and how things haven't changed. So let's have a listen to this.
and most significant aspect of my policy perspective and decisions is my values have not changed. You mentioned the Green New Deal. I have always believed, and I have worked on it, that the climate crisis is real, that it is an urgent matter to which we should apply metrics that include holding ourselves to deadlines around time. We did that with the Inflation Reduction Act. We have set goals for the United States of America and by extension the globe around when we should meet certain standards for reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, as an example. That value has not changed. My value around what we need to do to secure our border, that value has not changed. I spent 2 terms as the Attorney General of California prosecuting transnational criminal organizations, violations of American laws regarding the illegal passage of guns, drugs, and human beings across our border. My values have not changed.
So that's going to probably come back to Haunter saying that her values have not changed, saying her values have not changed. Well, here's a little clip from one of Trump's rallies back in August the 9th, talking, he's playing a video of Kamala Harris and stuff that she has done and what she believes in.
Yeah, I am radical. We need to get radical about what we are doing and take it seriously. As President of the United States, I am prepared to get rid of the filibuster to pass a Green New Deal. There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. We have to have a buyback program, and I support a mandatory buyback program.
I believe it will totally eliminate private insurance.
Let's eliminate all of that.
But would you support changing the dietary guidelines?
Yes.
You know, the food pyramid, where people
Yes. Yes.
to reduce red meat specifically.
Yes, I would.
Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants.
Where do you stand on defund the police?
This whole movement is about rightly saying we need to take a look at these budgets.
Harris asserted that ICE is perceived as the modern-day Ku Klux Klan.
Are you aware that there's a perception?
I see no.
Are you aware that there's a perception?
That puts ICE in the same category as the KKK. Is that what you're asking me? I see no parallel.
I'm not finished.
I see none.
Ed, yeah, I am radical. We need to get radical about what we are doing.
That's pretty wild, eh? When you think of it, all those little clips. So here's J.D. Vance. Of course, he is Trump's running mate, and this is what he has to say in regards to Kamala.
For a few weeks, Kamala Harris has been trying to change the rules on the debate. She wants to change everything because she knows that unless she gets the rules that she wants, unless she has a bias set up, the American people are going to reject her. But you know what she really wants to do? And look out for this on September the 10th. She really wants a moment where she can interrupt Donald Trump and say, "I'm speaking." Because, you know, Kamala Harris, sometimes I think she doesn't want to be the vice president. She wants to be the vice principal. She really likes to just tell people what to do, and she really wants that moment where she says, "I'm speaking," right? And that's exactly what she'll watch for it on September the 10th, and then you can come back and say you heard it here first, that Kamala Harris, what I'd like her to actually do again is just explain her record, because I think the American people deserve to have a president who explains their record.
Yeah, so anyway, if people don't understand what he's saying about her getting interrupted and saying, "I'm speaking," here's an actual clip of Kamala Harris when her and Mike Pence had a debate during the last election. So here we go.
The president wanted people to remain calm.
Well, let's get.
No, but Susan, this is important.
Susan,
I want to
have
add,
to
but
weigh in
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
I have to
I'm
weigh in.
speaking.
Yep.
Yeah, let's talk about packing the court then. Let's talk about the fact. Yeah, I'm about to. $400,000
He said
a
he's going to
year.
repeal the Trump tax cuts.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking. I'm speaking.
Be important if you said the truth.
If you don't mind letting me finish, we can then have a conversation, okay?
Yeah, please have a conversation about the truth. Obviously, he was asking, we were having a debate with Mike Pence and stuff like that, and they were saying about the truth. It's crazy. So here is, I'm going to finish off the podcast with a couple of clips. I just played a bunch there, of course, of Kamala. I'm going to play just 2 of Trump. He had a town hall the other night, And this was with Hannity, but it was through Fox. There was supposed to be a debate with Kamala and Trump, but Kamala backed out because it was Fox. So then they agreed, of course, to have this other debate. Only one. Kamala is only doing one with Trump, and that's going to be on the 10th of September, and it's going to be on ABC. So here is Trump talking about when he got the rules from the Harris campaign. So here we go.
Coming debate.
He kept looking down, up. Look, nobody wants to cover it. I know all about notes. I mean, it's all right if people know that, but she wasn't supposed to have notes. So she's asked a question. She looks down. She had notes. That means she knew that she knew what was happening.
Did her campaign, when they said that they wanted to change the rules that they had agreed to, did they ask for notes? Did they ask for the?
They wanted notes.
They wanted to be seated, and they wanted your mic hot.
And they wanted a desk. They didn't want to do it. I said, you got to do a stand-up.
After they already agreed to the other.
Yeah, but they wanted a desk from the beginning. You know who else wanted a desk? Sleepy Joe.
Yeah, so they want to have, she wants to be able to have notes, and she wants to be able to have a desk. Not sure why, but because she can't, she either reach from a teleprompter, or she wants all these notes so she can just read off, so just standing there, going off the cuff, off of stuff that's in her head. So here's the last little video of Trump talking about the election, obviously coming up. And you know what? You gotta kind of chuckle at it, but here we go.
You can't take the chance. You have no choice. You've got to vote for me. You've got to vote for me. even if you don't like me, you know? Yeah. It's no, but even if you don't like me, you can sit there and say, I can't stand that guy, but there's no way I'm going to vote for her. No, you have to have fracking. You know, you're the biggest in the country for this. You have two of the biggest sites in the world. It's a massive business for Pennsylvania, and you can't take a chance. She will not allow fracking. It's still about the forgotten man and the forgotten woman. The people are being treated horribly in this country. We're a country that's being laughed at all over the world. And I'll be honest, if Joe Biden would be a great president, I would be happier than being the worst president in the history of our country, because I want to see what's good for the country.
So there you go. The political pulse to the north and to the south. I wanted to cover a little bit of north, a little bit of south. Anyway, listen, that's going to be the end of this podcast, about 27 minutes in. I'm just going to sign off, and like I always sign off with just a little message. And thank you very much for subscribing to my podcast. Hopefully it's informed you a little bit, got a little bit more educated on stuff you don't know about, understand a little bit what's going on to the north and to the south. It's much appreciated. I want to say once again that everyone in this life is going through something. Everyone has a story, and everyone's going through some type of hardship. And all I can say is you just have to keep moving forward. That's right. Keep moving forward. Very, very important. That's what you have to do. On that fine note, until next podcast, everyone, have a great day. Cheers. This episode sponsored by He Shirts, She Shirts. Go to www.heshirtssheshirts.ca. Just type in the letters TSA, The Surge Effect. When you check out, type in TSA for your coupon and receive 10% off your next purchase. Thanks for listening to today's podcast, everybody.